of course, we still have some great, tremendous things happening in this space, right? Bitcoin does not need Powell. I don't want you guys to think that, oh, Bitcoin is dependent on what the Fed does. No, it's just a catalyst. Obviously, with a blooming U.S. economy, it's going to help Bitcoin, right? It's going to help it move a little faster. And same thing, when the global liquidity flows everywhere, it's going to help Bitcoin because Bitcoin is, of course, the greatest asset that we have. And when people have excess cash, what do? They invest in assets. But, regardless, Bitcoin was created because of distrust in the Fed and central banks and governments, right? So it's not like we need Fed Chair Powell for anything. But I'm just saying, I just bring it up because, hey, today could be a very good day. Could be a very good day. Or it could be a very bad day, but I don't think so. It could be a nothing burger day too. As for ETFs, we had a pretty positive inflow yesterday, especially for BlackRock. So if you look at it, 65 million inflow overall. BlackRock at the very left took about 75 million themselves. And again, they just keep on accumulating some more. So if you understand Bitcoin, if you truly understand Bitcoin and realize how great the network is, how great of a store of value it is, and why we all need to load up because of distrust in governments, right? Once you come to the realization of those things, then you would just load up forever. Then you become a lifelong hodler and DCAer. And that's what BlackRock is doing right now. That's what Larry Fink is doing. You notice there's no reds on the left column. 0 reds. No outflows, only inflow. And he's a very latecomer, obviously in this space, but BlackRock is the 3rd largest Bitcoin holder in existence already in 7 months. It's kind of scary if you think about it. 7 months, 3rd largest holder in history. That is a tremendous amount. You just do the math. Okay. What about another 7 months? What about 7 years? How much are they going to hold? It's actually kind of scary if you think about it. It's really scary if you think about it. So that's what we need to accumulate. And that's why so many others are accumulating, because you don't want to wait 7 years, okay, to buy Bitcoin, to buy your very first SAT. You don't want to wait that long. You want to buy it while it's still cheap, while it's under 6 figures. It will be across 6 figures soon. And I don't know if we're going to come back ever once crossing that 6-figure territory. But that's why hodling and DCAing is the way to go. Even countries like El Salvador has been doing that. 1 Bitcoin per day. Think about it. 1 Bitcoin per day is a lot. But on a grand scheme of things, you think about 1 Bitcoin per day is not that much. But look at this. Over time, they have accumulated $357 million now of Bitcoin. Such a small country, one that was dependent on the IMF and the World Bank, now no longer. Well, I don't know about that. They probably still do. They still probably owe them money, but still, that's a tremendous amount in Bitcoin for such a small country. See, they want to break the chains, right? They want to be independent. They're building a Bitcoin city. They have volcano bonds. They're all in on Bitcoin. And it has done very well for them, right? So even countries are embracing Bitcoin because they know. What else? As for miners, we got 27 publicly traded miners, and this is how much they hold. A lot of Bitcoin. A lot. Mara, Marathon, Riot, HUD 8, those are the 3 biggest. CleanSpark, Hive, Cypher Mining, and it goes on and on and on and on. You add all that up, that's close to 50,000 Bitcoin right there. Probably more than that, 60,000. Quite a lot, as you guys can see. DCAing, hodling is the best strategy there is. quite simply because when it comes to Bitcoin, it's a scarcity thing. There's just not enough to go around. So now when retail investors, this was created for retail investors, but now retail investors are competing against mining companies, competing against public trade companies, competing against countries and institutions and fund managers, right? A lot of competition. Demand keeps on going up. Supply continues to plummet. This is why a rally is coming and why Bitcoin arguably has been rallying ever since day one. 14 years ago, this day, 14 years ago, you could have bought 10 Bitcoin for under $1 because at that point, Bitcoin was under 10 cents each. That was 14 years ago. Most of you guys probably remember 14 years ago like it was nothing. I remember. I still remember when the very first iPhone came out in 2007. This was afterwards. You could have bought enormous amount of Bitcoin back then. No one paid attention, but the ones that did, they're freaking billionaires right now. It's just that simple, right? This is why you could argue that Bitcoin has been rallying ever since day one. Nothing has outperformed Bitcoin over the long haul. It's the greatest appreciating asset that we have and will probably continue to be that way forever because of the scarcity factor. Demand keeps going up and there's only so much Bitcoin to go around. It's controlled by code. There will never be more than 21 million. No other asset out there. You look at stocks, there's no stocks. Stocks there's always more of it. They can always issue more. You look at gold, you look at silver, you look at copper, palladium, platinum, you look at oil, you look at any commodities. There's always more that could be produced or found or dug out of the ground or mined from asteroids, but not Bitcoin. All right, last few things I want to share. So in terms of the current movement, I know we've been going sideways for a little bit, but again, I like to remind you guys over and over and over and over I'll keep reminding you guys until I retire, that, we are moving according to how we've always moved. We have halving events, which are great. Comes every 4 years. We have sideways movements. We have dips. We have fearful moments. And then we have the parabolic stage, and that's what's next, right? That's the most fun of any cycle, and that's the one part of a cycle that you don't want to miss. If you miss everything else, even if you missed buying at bottom, you missed at buying sub 20,000, for example, okay, which you could have done last year, January last year. Believe it or not, you could have bought Bitcoin at $15,000. So even if you missed that and you missed the buying opportunities in the 20s and 30s, you may think, well, it's over, right? Why would I buy Bitcoin at 60,000? Well, you're going to be saying the same thing next year when we hit 200, 250,000, and you're going to say, well, I could have bought Bitcoin at 60,000. Even though 60,000 is way higher than 20 or 15, but still, we are moving according to plan. The parabolic phase, the major rally that you guys are looking for is coming. You just have to have patience. I'm connecting all the dots for you guys, putting everything together, and hopefully you guys understand.